Ooh, 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 ooh. We back in with this podcast again, you guys. Don't you know that it's been a while? So today we will be exposing Ellen DeGeneres. If you do not know who Ellen DeGeneres is, here she goes right here. I'm going to share my screen. Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres. So if you do not know who Ellen DeGeneres is, I will pull her up. She is a former actress and comedian. She hosted her own talk show called Ellen. She's a comedian and an actress. She played the voice in the movie Rising Dory. So today we're going to be exposing her and her toxic work environment. Okay, let me see. Okay, so today we will react to this vid by Sloan. It is called Ellen's Exposing Ellen DeGeneres. Sorry about that. YouTube. I want to exit.
What is important and what is real.
She was toxic to be around. She wouldn't look at you in the eye. She was very dismissive.
Speaking about claims of a toxic work environment.
I tried to use my platform to raise awareness. I like to think that I'm doing my best.
Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
Why was she?
She says she didn't enjoy that moment.
Why do you even have time to write that email?
I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Yeah, you will. This is the one thing that I have. It's like the one shred of
I'm
dignity
just
that I
so
have.
sorry. This has gone on way too long. People have gotten away with murder. And that's what's happening.
Ellen DeGeneres is one of the most foul people in Hollywood. There are horrific stories about her and her executive producers on the internet exposing exactly what goes on behind the scenes of the Ellen show. Ellen has been exposed time and time again, but it's time for us to put it all into one video and talk about who Ellen really is. From exploiting celebrities to exploiting her staff, she has done it all, and it's time that the Ellen show goes away for good. So let's get into it. Lately, I've been eating so good thanks to HelloFresh. Let's start off by talking about my cooking skills, because I have none. But since using HelloFresh, I feel like a straight-up chef. They make it so easy by sending you everything you could ask for, with detailed instructions, which is exactly what I need. This week, I received the Southwest beef cavatappi, Old Bay buttered up chicken, and the Italian chicken pepper sandos. I decided to cook myself the cavatappi for dinner, and it was incredible. When you order from HelloFresh, you have so many meal options, like veggie, pescatarian, and fit and wholesome choices to choose from. You guys can use my link below and order from HelloFresh right now. The beef cavatappi was so easy to make, it literally took me 30 minutes, which honestly would have been the same amount of time for me to go and pick up food or to order delivery. HelloFresh is so quick and easy. I made the Italian chicken and pepper sandos with my friend, and she's not a cook either, but we killed it. So go to HelloFresh.com and use my code Sloan16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. I received so many DMs and comments from you guys who put in your first order using my link, and I love hearing how much you guys are enjoying it. So thank you, HelloFresh, for sponsoring this video, and let's get into it. So you guys probably recognize Ellen DeGeneres from her self-titled show, The Ellen Show. But she's more than just a TV host. She's also an actress, a writer, a comedian, and a producer. And at one point, she starred in her own self-titled sitcom called Ellen back in 1994 that ran through 1998. Then she started her Ellen show back in 2003, and it's been running since. Actually, her show is supposed to be canceled this spring because people who have been working with her throughout the years have spoken out against Ellen.
She was toxic to be around. That's how I would frame it.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't look at you in the eye. She was very dismissive. Early on when I would pitch my segments and I would just open my mouth, I'm not even 5 seconds into my pitch, she would say, "Get to the point already. Get to the point. Come on, get to the point."
You guys just heard Hedda Muscat in that clip, and she used to work at the Ellen Show, and she worked there for a very long time and spent a good amount of time around Ellen. And she's been one of the key people who have spoken out against Ellen.
So for me, I was there in 2003. I was brought on to book the human interest guests, not celebrities, but people that were newsbreakers. And when I would go into pitch Ellen, who we have on the show today for our production meetings, she looked away. She showed no interest with any of the newsbreaking stories. She really showed a despise for a lot of my people that we were pitching to her, which is fine. It's a pitch. So I boo-hoo, I don't care about that. But we had to walk on eggshells with her because when we would be pitching, her snide remarks would be, "What am I going to talk to them about? I don't know. I have nothing to say. I don't know." So we would write the whole outline for her, and then the guests would walk off feeling like crap. So it wasn't goodwill for the show. However, she loved kissing with all the celebrities, and she really was not in a position to interview the real people because she really couldn't carry a conversation with them.
Throughout this video, you are going to hear little clips of Hedda recount her experiences with Ellen, but I want to share a bunch of different stories I have gathered from the internet. You guys may remember that I have made a video about Ellen before in the past. I am going to be pulling some receipts from that video as well. That was before I had my nice mic and my nice camera, and I wanted to do a full video because there was so much left out of the first one, and we need to get into it. Let's start off by talking about Ellen's character, because it seems like everyone's aware and has accepted her bad behavior. This person tweeted, "When you move to LA, the first 2 things that happen are you get a parking ticket, and someone who once worked for Ellen will tell you a story about how she's a monster." And it does seem like working for Ellen would be horrible. Someone shared that Ellen has a sensitive nose, so everyone must chew gum from a bowl outside of her office before talking to her. And if she thinks you smell that day at work, the boss is going to make you go home and shower. A new staff member was told every day she picks someone different to really hate. It's not your fault. Just suck it up for the day and she'll be mean to someone else the next day. They didn't believe it, but it ended up being entirely true. And I think one of the weirdest things about Ellen, time again, not to make eye contact with her, or she's at least told her workers to tell other people don't make eye contact with Ellen, which is a huge red flag. A singer named Callum Scott was on the Ellen show, and he was backstage. He was so excited to be on the show. He was walking with the stage manager and told them, "I can't believe I'm getting to do this." And the stage manager said to Callum, "Yeah, it's so amazing. But remember not to look Ellen in the eye. Everything else is fine. Just don't look at her in the eye," which I'm like, what? Like,
wherever the road takes you, Chevy is ready to drive you forward. With pure power
what? Like, I don't know how it even register that. An Australian radio host named Neil Breen also had a similar experience with Ellen. So this guy Neil was co-hosting an interview with Ellen, and they traveled all this way to interview her, and he was also told not to look at or to speak at Ellen. Like, just don't even act like Ellen is there, which again is like not warm or welcoming or kind. Like, she says to be kind all the time, but she must only be kind to celebrities, people that she can use for her show for more content to be more popular. Somebody shared on Twitter, "My friend wrote for the Ellen show for 2 years and told me Ellen didn't greet her once," which honestly, that makes sense to me. I mean, she's the big boss. She's busy, but this person was told upon employment that they weren't allowed to talk to her, which sets an odd tone, a very toxic tone for the workplace. A man named Tom, who works in the security industry, has spoken out against Ellen because he was her bodyguard back at the 2014 Oscars, and he claims that she was sly and demeaning. "I feel like I'd be the most kind to the people who are supposed to protect me," but he was quoted saying, "Ellen is the one person that I've been assigned to, and he's been assigned to quite a few celebrities, that has never taken the time to say hi to me. She's not the person she portrays to be, that she's playing off to society." And I think that's why society collectively has bad vibes when it comes to Ellen, because she just doesn't seem like who she acts like on the television. And there are moments and stories that have been shared where she had called up Steve Jobs because she was complaining about the text size on the iPhone. And it's just a level of entitlement that I think people can't even comprehend, because again, she's this kind lady on the television, yet she acts so vulgar in the real world. We need to talk about Chris Farah's experience with Ellen, because she worked at a restaurant and pretty much she had chipped nail polish. Ellen did not like that, ended up writing to the restaurant, which had fired her over this. Because if Ellen's going to go to a restaurant and complain about you, then they're going to make sure you're never seen again, which is just disgusting. How are you going to go to a restaurant where there are real working people? Not saying that Ellen doesn't have a real job, because she worked hard as well, but this person's also working hard to make a living, and you complain about chipped nail polish? It seems just so next level. Well, Chris is actually a comedian and a YouTuber. I'll try to link their YouTube channel below, and they have actually done a comedy skit about this situation. So let's go ahead and watch it together.
Why would you do that? I mean, I will be honest, I understand self-torture because for years I worked at an organic vegan macrobiotic restaurant serving people. Until I was released after a really popular talk show host emailed the owner and complained about my chipped nail polish. True story. Not in her food, but on my hands. I don't want to name any names. I don't want to name any names. I really think about it. I mean, she's so busy and so rich from her like daily talk show and being a cover girl.
Okay. If somebody complained about some chipped nail polish, like, that is petty as hell. Why are you worried about this girl and her chipped nail polish? That's so stupid. And it didn't even get nowhere in her food. She just being a drama queen for what reason? Like, I don't get those type of people who does that. They're literally Karens. That's what we call them, Karens. That's what they are, Karens.
and selling dog food, and judging reality television talent shows, and selling plylids, and posting foreign paintings on brick walls of comedy theater parking lots that are now covered up out there, and hosting the Oscars tonight. Like, why do you even have time to write that email? Oh, I really wish I could tell you who it was. I really wish I could tell you who that seemingly fun-loving older flipper on TV is. But I'm pretty sure Portia beat me up, so I can't. Look, I
mean, Chris is funny, and I'm glad she's able to take this experience and turn it into something positive. I mean, Ellen uses people all the time to push them to their limits for her television show. I think it's about time that some people use some stories against her, and that's pretty much what this whole video is all about. But I want to talk a little bit about a moment on Ellen's show where Mariah Carey was put in a really uncomfortable situation because she was pregnant at this.
Look how uncomfortable Mariah Carey is in this thing. Like, she has had several miscarriages. And that feeling is just, and then when you make her drink while she's pregnant, she end up getting stressed out and she have another miscarriage. Like, that is just so messed up, Ellen. Like,
this point, and pregnancy has been a struggle for her. And Ellen really put a lot of pressure on her publicly to announce that she was pregnant by trying to force her to drink alcohol.
Let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then we should.
My goodness. I can't believe it.
Mariah Carey is opening up about this uncomfortable 2008 appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
That's the theme when it comes to Ellen. Someone wrote on Twitter, I had to watch hours of her interviews for a project I was working on, and she continuously and rudely asks her guests deeply personal questions and won't stop even if they ask her to. She gets away with it because she's quirky and awkward, which is just so true. Mariah Carey has actually spoken out about this before because it did make her really uncomfortable.
The clip of Ellen trying to pressure the singer into drinking champagne as a way to offset pregnancy rumors recently resurfaced on Twitter, following allegations of a toxic workplace environment on the show.
People are saying that that you're pregnant. There's rumors.
Don't discuss that.
All right. Well, you don't have to answer.
No, that's okay. No, honestly,
you don't have to answer me. Let's just toast with champagne.
Now, in an interview with Vulture, Mariah is addressing that extremely uncomfortable moment with DeGeneres, telling the mag that she's really had a, quote, hard time grappling with the aftermath.
I can't stand
I can have some champagne. It's just fattening. So,
you can't have champagne?
That's not champagne because you can't.
No, it is.
The singer, who married then-husband Nick Cannon about 6 months prior to her sit-down with Ellen, did everything she could to dodge the TV personality's persistence.
You want to taste it?
I can't believe you did this to me, Ellen.
What? No,
Are you trying
I'm
to
not going to ask you if you're pregnant
This
or not.
is peer pressure. You see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure.
You can tell Mariah is visibly uncomfortable, but Ellen keeps pushing. And Mariah has spoken about this years.
Ellen kept on pushing, because if she kept on pushing it, then Mariah would have announced, hey, I'm pregnant on the Ellen show. And she would have got more clicks and views, and it didn't work. It blew up in her face. That's what she did.
After the fact. So I know this did really bother her deep down.
I was like, why does she keep talking about champagne?
At one point, Mariah even claimed it was too early to drink, just before appearing to take a small sip.
Go ahead.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
It's too early for me. Yeah. I only drink it after 3 p.m.
Yeah. You're pregnant. You're pregnant.
No, I didn't say that. No. My mother would be at home on the computer like, what are you talking about? No, we will let you know when we're going to have
No, you won't.
Knowing that Mariah Carey has had so many issues trying to have a baby breaks my heart that Ellen put her in that position.
She tells Vulture that she wasn't ready to announce the news because she'd previously suffered a miscarriage.
I can't say what's next or what's not next. For me, so many things are happening.
Of the interview, Mariah stresses that she doesn't want to throw anyone that's already being thrown under the proverbial bus, but she says she didn't enjoy that moment, adding that there's an empathy that can be applied to those moments that I would have liked to have been implemented.
I'm trying to tone it down.
Carrie ended up suffering another miscarriage shortly after her 2008 Ellen interview.
Someone who's already struggling to have kids, you're trying to make them drink alcohol or announce their pregnancy on your show because you want to have the headline, oh, Mariah Carey announced this pregnancy on Ellen's show. That's literally what Ellen's trying to do there. And I think it's so gross how she continues to use people in this way. A random tweet I found on Twitter wrote, when I was 15, the Ellen show was doing a contest of fans making a bust of her and send it to her. I guess maybe like a bust would be a replica of her head. I don't really get what that means. I worked so hard on this and even wrote her a letter. Weeks later, she used it as a prop in a game and gave it away to a random person with $500 attached to the bottom. She never got any notice or anything. Just like they just took it, which I just think speaks a lot to the culture of the Ellen show in general. It starts from the top, but like a producer could have easily sent a thank you letter and been like, oh, maybe we'll use this on a show. Like keep your eyes out. But they didn't because they just don't care about people. Another person that Ellen has tried to embarrass on her show is Taylor Swift. And I love Taylor Swift. I love her Folklore and her Evermore album. Those are definitely my favorites. And honestly, it seems like Taylor...
We're getting somewhere.
Taylor was so young there, and she even looked annoyed back then. Keep in mind, there was a viral moment where Taylor was on the show, and Ellen kept trying to force her to admit to having a relationship with Zac Efron, which again...
I was getting tired of waiting tables. I recently immigrated to America.
...is super cramped.
So we could just do this expose Ellen in one video. So, you guys, do you see this is a pattern with Ellen? Like, when celebrities come on there, she would use them for content and stuff, and then she would embarrass them. Like, that is just so touche, Ellen. It is. You're so disrespectful, Ellen. Allegedly, because we got to say allegedly, because she likes to sue. She might try to sue me. But, yeah, Ellen, this is a pattern with you.
I'm so happy to see you. Every time you're here, you make me very happy. You were here with your boyfriend, Zac Efron, last time. How's he doing?
We actually never dated.
Yes, you did. So how's he doing?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a while because we didn't date.
Yes, you did. Why do you deny it?
Because we didn't.
Which song is about Zac on the new CD?
There's nothing really about Zac on the CD because we didn't date.
It is so bad, especially because you can see Taylor visibly doesn't want to do this. Like, these celebrities will plead with Ellen, please stop. I don't want to do this. Like Mariah was. And there was a game that Ellen tried to play with Taylor where she would ring a bell or something if she like had a thing with a guy or was interested with a guy. And like, it's something that she even says she wants to keep private. So why does she keep pushing? People started speaking about these old clips of Ellen because she was exposed for an incredibly toxic workplace. As you guys have probably heard before, Ellen is known as being the kind lady, the be kind lady, but she's far from that. So BuzzFeed published a long story where they interviewed a bunch of the Ellen show employees, and they shared a lot about discrimination, intimidation, fear, people being touched by executives of the show, where there was a ton of harassment, and there was an entire show behind the scenes of the Ellen show. There was an internal investigation launched after this article came out, and a bunch of these producers were fired, but these were some of Ellen's closest friends. There's no doubt in my mind that Ellen knew exactly what these producers were doing, and she was incredibly strict with all the rules she had, from people eating certain types of food to people just taking time off. Ellen's staff alleged that they were bullied, fired for attending family funerals, or taking sick leave. One woman claimed to have walked off the job after facing comments about her race. They said that be kind BS only happens when the cameras are on. It's all for show. Some of the top producers who were exposed include Jonathan Norman, Ed Galvin, and Andy Lastner. There were a bunch of others, and we go into more detail about them in my previous video, but this video is a little bit more Ellen focused, but we still need to talk about these guys. When all these allegations came out, Andy Lastner actually went onto Twitter and tweeted out, "Nobody is going off the air, and go Kings go." He's acting very narcissist because he was let go. And ultimately, this show is supposed to be canceled, but we'll talk about that at the end. Now let's talk about Jonathan Norman, because he is a co-executive producer who had allegedly manipulated a former employee by taking him out to concerts and giving him gifts and perks and all of that before getting physical with him and doing things.
Knock, knock. Hi there. I'd love to show you what a K-12 powered school is really like. Step in.
Orally. 3 of the former employees also corroborated that story and said that, yes, Jonathan did this to this employee. They said, "We were young people forming our careers, and we were unfortunately subjected to a toxic work environment as some of our first jobs out of college. And some of us were inappropriately harassed, which had shaped our careers." The show's head writer, Kevin Lehman, also had allegations against him that he was soliciting for oral pleasure from some employees, which again, that's a power dynamic issue. These top executives and writers should not be asking these lower staff employees to pleasure them. Kevin Lehman was also known to be handsy, as well as this guy named Ed Galvin. And we need to talk about him because he not only had a reputation for being handsy, but also getting aggressive.
Hired the executive producer, Ed Galvin, to work closely with Ellen. It created already a culture of fear. Ed was a yeller. Ellen knew about it. He would yell in front of us and her in a room. He would just be going off on people with veins bulging.
Another former employee said that Ed would call over producers and assistants to sit around together while they're filming segments, and he would then touch people inappropriately in front of everyone, in front of 30 people. Someone was quoted saying, "Even though I was being inappropriately touched at work by Ed, he would put his arm around them and then start rubbing them." It seems like he would also reward the people who would allow him to touch them inappropriately, which again, that's the work power dynamic that we are trying to avoid here. You get touched, you get rewarded, they get what they want. They said that Ed would manage the team through fear and intimidation in the control room. You could definitely see the creep factor and the creepy touching. That was out in the open for everyone to see. This former employee claims that he would touch her regularly in that control room. Obviously, no one wants that, and no one wants to be uncomfortably touched by someone, but you didn't want to piss them off or you would be fired. So it was just that culture of fear. When the news first broke, Ellen did post a social media video, and it was pretty dramatic.
I'm just so sorry. This has gone on way, 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 way too long. People have gotten away with murder. And that's what's happening.
A lot of people didn't buy Ellen's apology because it was quick and a little bit unauthentic, and there's a lot of allegations here. So a quick Instagram story, Twitter video isn't going to solve anything.
Wow. How did you take her apology at the weekend?
It's full of what. It's bogus.
Yeah.
It's bogus. Her apology is 16 years too late. You can't buy back all the lives that she destroyed, basically, because when you fire people for no reason, just because you don't like them, and you don't like them because they didn't do anything wrong, you just don't like their look, or maybe they're old and they're older women. I'm older than her. So she has no idea the effect when you let people go, how it affects their families when you're the sole provider of your family.
Obviously, Hedda doesn't like Ellen, but the Ellen show itself and their producers and the bosses would again use this culture of fear against people. When somebody complains, they say, so if you have a problem, you should leave because we'll hire someone else because everybody wants to work here. They would constantly threaten them like, well, okay, leave. I mean, we'll hire someone new. You are replaceable. And if Ellen is acting so miserably at work, she can't be happy herself. An insider claims that Ellen hates coming to work and struggles to be nice to people and has utter contempt for her audience. She has been phoning it for so long, only staying for the money and celebrity it affords her. We've dealt with her BS for so many years. She's not innocent at all. She's not nice, and the show is not filled with happiness. Woo, they cleared the air right there. But is there a chance that Ellen didn't know all of this creepy stuff was going on? One person said that everyone acted differently around her. There's a show happening behind the show that the executive producers have us all put on for her when she comes to the offices. But I believe she knew everything, and some other people have claimed that she is a part of these big meetings. There's no reason she did not hear the rumors or see what was going on in the offices. But of course, when people do have problems, they don't bring it up to her because she's not approachable and she doesn't want to hear about the crap going on. So they claim that she knows crap goes on, but she also just doesn't want to hear it. Ellen did issue a proper apology on her show, but again, people didn't love it.
The truth is, I am that person that you see on TV. I am also a lot of other things. Sometimes I get sad, I get mad, I get anxious.
That don't excuse what you did, Ellen. It does not excuse what you did. You held a toxic work environment. Everybody needs to apologize. Start calling people up like we told Dan Schneider. Hello? And give somebody a true, authentic apology. Please give somebody a genuine apology. Ellen, can you do that for me? Throw it off people.
I get frustrated, I get impatient, and I am working on all of that. I am a work in progress.
Thank you for liking it. We got the 3 likes.
Ellen doesn't have to be a perfect person, but I think it's the entitlement that a lot of people can't get over.
How was everybody's summer? Good? Yeah? Mine was great. Super terrific.
But quickly turned serious when speaking about claims of a toxic work environment, apologizing to those who were affected.
We have had a lot of conversations over the last few weeks about the show, our workplace, and what we want for the future. We have made the necessary changes, and today we are starting a new chapter.
She can fire all of these people, but at the end of the day, it starts from the top. And I believe that Ellen is the source of this environment. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some other experiences that people have had with Ellen DeGeneres, because Nikki Tutorials, a fellow YouTuber, has actually been on their show. Nikki actually made headlines by talking about her negative experience on Ellen's show.
Ze bij Ellen DeGeneres?
Nou, laat ik zeggen dat er een groot verschil is tussen De Wereld Draait Door en Ellen. En dan geef ik jullie het positieve handje.
Want?
Oh, punt.
Nou, daar wil ik meer weten.
Ja, er zijn bepaalde... Kijk, bijvoorbeeld, het is wel heel leuk dat jij wel vooraf hallo komt zeggen en zo. Het is bij Ellen in ieder geval, het is wat ik heb meegemaakt hier en andere landen, is dat gewoon een hele andere wereld. Het zit gewoon iets anders.
Afstandelijke killer.
Tikje. Het is wel echt dat ik zo'n podium mocht betreden, is natuurlijk de grootste eer, laat ik dat voorop stellen. Maar het is wel een andere wereld. Eurovisie.
That was a clip of Nikki on a Dutch television show talking a little bit about the Ellen show and how the Dutch television program was much nicer. She shared that her experience on the Ellen show was more cold and distant. Of course, Ellen has never responded to this story. The show has never responded or apologized. And Nikki claims that she doesn't have anything against Ellen. She just hopes by sharing this experience, maybe they will try to fix what's going on there. And Nikki was there for just like one segment, and she was able to sense how bad things were. I can't even imagine how it is to work there. Usually when I do these deep dives on people, I just grab everything I could find. And a lot of people, they typically go through lawsuits and relationships, and there was one relationship that stuck out to me. Once upon a time, Ellen dated an actress named Anne Hesh, and they had a very public relationship. This was back in the 90s when gay was not okay and women did not have an open same-sex relationship. So it was shocking to a lot of people. Ellen was supposedly really insecure in this relationship. As someone who has been very forthright with their sexuality and owning this, she still seems to be very insecure, and she would make sure that Anne would cover up herself on the red carpet and that they would try to stay as low-key as possible. They dated for 3.5 years, and Anne claims that the stigma attached to their relationship was so bad that she was fired from her multi-million-dollar picture deal. She didn't work in a studio for 10 years because of her relationship with Ellen. I don't know if Ellen is to blame for any of this, but as soon as they broke up, Anne was in a bad place. Ellen claims that Anne walked out the door and they hadn't spoke since. I don't have answers. I would love to have them myself. I would ask all the questions that everyone else wants to ask. I'm left with everyone else wondering what happened. So Ellen claims the breakup was a surprise to her. And after 3.5 years, Anne decided the day after they break up that she would show up at a stranger's house in California and share nonsensical information with the person who lived there. So randomly knocked on someone's front door. They open the door and she just starts spewing a bunch of things that don't even really make sense. And after that, she was hospitalized, and it all goes back to mental health issues. She was mentally not in a good place when she was dating Ellen, at least towards the end. Anne has spoken about this and claims that she went into treatment because of trauma from her childhood, but the breakup still seems pretty iffy to a lot of fans. The relationship itself sounds traumatic. Back in the 90s, it wasn't okay. Anne was told by a Fox studio executive that if they brought Ellen to the premiere, their contract would be terminated. I brought Ellen despite those threats, and we were escorted out of the theater before the lights came on by security and not allowed to attend the premiere party because they did not want any photos of us together. I do respect some of the things that Ellen has done for the LGBT community because she was a lesbian figure in media when we really didn't have anyone. I was going to say Oprah, but Oprah's not even lesbian. But people have thought that Oprah was a lesbian before, right? With Gayle King. Isn't that a thing? Anyways, back to Ellen. Something I can't respect Ellen for is that interview with Dakota Johnson. In November 2019, Ellen interviewed Dakota Johnson on her show, and she brought up the fact that she recently turned 30. Ellen said, "How was the party? I wasn't invited." Dakota wasn't having it and said, "Actually, no, that's not the truth, Ellen."
This game, you're not ready for it.
I should give myself 26 likes.
You were invited.
I want to be invited to a party.
Well, I didn't even know you liked me.
Of course I like you. You knew I liked you.
Ellen was like, "Who doesn't want to be invited to a party?" And Dakota said, "I didn't even know you liked me." Honestly, I wouldn't be able to tell either, because if Ellen can't even make eye contact, it's like, do I want you at my party? I don't. But Dakota said, "I did invite you and you didn't come." Ellen was taken back. "Are you sure? How do you know?" "I don't think so." And Dakota said, "Ask everybody. Ask your producer, Jonathan. Go and ask these people." And oh my gosh, we were talking about Jonathan a little bit ago, the creepazoid.
But I did invite you and you didn't come. So
This time you invited me?
yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
How do you know? I don't think so.
Ask everybody.
It was later confirmed that yes, Ellen was invited to the party, but she was out of town. And I guess it turns out that she was actually with George Bush, the former president, at a Cowboys game, which she actually ended up getting a ton of backlash for this photo because he's against gay marriage, and that's something that she is for. But you know what? It is what it is. Now let's switch gears and talk about a clip I wanted to include in this video because there was a moment where a child was on her show and he needed a translator, and Ellen was just kind of rude to this translator. Like, when I was watching this, I was taken back because she's just so disrespectful to people. And sometimes I understand comedy, but like, this just doesn't even seem funny to me.
Okay.
So clearly that scene is a little bit more lighthearted, but at the same time, Ellen is being dismissive of that person and just like overall rude, but like she's rude to everyone. I have so many more clips in my original video about Ellen, but there are so many on the internet. It's just like, why would you want that to be your reputation, to make people feel uncomfortable? It's like nobody would want to go on your show. I'm pretty sure it looks like Taylor Swift was forced against her will to appear on your show. But supposedly the show is supposed to end in spring 2022. We're in spring 2022. So I don't know when the final episode is going to air, but it's supposedly going to end. In my opinion, it doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon. It actually turns out that Ellen's last show is going to be on May 26th. So she will be done. Wow, there's an official end date. It was just recently set too. So May 26th is the last time. And this is what Hedda had to say about Ellen's departure.
What do you think of the news? Has this come as a shock?
Hi. No, not a shock at all. The viewers have spoken. Her ratings have been in the toilet for a long, long time now. Her show has not been fun. It has not been interesting. She's not really, by the way, stepping down. The viewers fired her.
Hedda is right. The people voted her out and she is now gone. And people are just over Ellen. I get it. I mean, I understand. Here's my email. If you have any other video ideas for me or people you want me to do a deep dive on, feel free to email me. I really wanted to redo this video and add some more receipts in and, use my nicer microphone because my last one gives me headaches when I look at those old videos. So it looks like I've got a package right here from Jay.
Okay, you guys, that was a long reaction video. I want to help a toxic work environment. She's very rude. That's what we learned from this video. Make sure y'all like it. Make sure y'all subscribe. And that is it.